What's up, Shades?
LD, what's happening, man?
It's good to
This
see
is
you
the
back.
yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Absolutely.
Shades of Clarity and LD's channel today.
Absolutely, man. And I haven't been here for a few days. We've had some family ordeals going on, but everything's looking a lot better now. So just man, my luck lately has not been the greatest, but things are doing better. So, how have you been, man?
Just working, man. Doing the YouTube thing. Uh, Not a whole lot more. Just writing. Just got back. I did a photo shoot last night at a friend of mine's place on film, practicing because she wants me to shoot her wedding on film on Saturday.
Oh,
And
nice, man.
people are like, "You're crazy, man. You're gonna shoot it on. Why are you using film?" And well, that's just what she wanted, and I'm glad to oblige. They're gonna pay me, so
There's a lot of people who still shoot on film. I think it's beautiful to shoot on film.
yeah, it's fun. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part is when when you go to develop. Do you develop at your house?
I don't. I send it off to a lab in San Clemente, California, called the Dark Room. And what they do is they process the film and then upload it. And they let me know when they're uploaded, and then I go to the site and download the scans.
Oh, okay, okay. I've never tried that before. We talked about coming on today and kind of discussing, DUIs or DWIs. It just kind of depends on your state and, the wording. But it's, at the end of the day, it's driving under the influence or driving while intoxicated or however you want to put it. But I just think it's a really important topic to discuss, and it's one of those topics that I've never discussed on my channel before. It's one of those things I've never really talked about. And you and I were having a conversation, I think last week or something, and it kind of came to fruition. We started talking about, the fact that you had gotten some DWIs. And I just thought it'd be a really great idea to bring you on and talk about that. And, what can happen, when we're in the middle of active addiction and we're driving around and all that stuff. And, what happens and, what the consequences look like. Because I think it's important for people to know, if you're out driving around while intoxicated, what can happen to you and how much of a pain it is, after you get one, two, or three of those. So,
It's
could,
expensive, man. It's expensive.
well, if you don't mind, just kind of, could you kind of just kind of bring us into, what happened and like, how did you get your first DWI? Well, kind of start us out and let us know, like, your your drinking pattern and all that kind of stuff, and what kind of led into that DWI, and then kind of if you don't mind telling us a story about how that happened.
Oh, sure. Well, I was in college. Uh, I think actually I'd already graduated. This was in 90. It was in 99 when I got the first one, but I was still living in Wilmington. And me, my roommate, and his former roommate, which is one of my good friends, decided I was driving. I don't know how I got roped into driving, but we went downtown, played foosball, bar hopped or whatever, and I thought it was a good idea to take a couple of shots of Jack Daniels like before we left. I mean, we never closed bars down. It's like we get out of there like about midnight or so, maybe the latest at one in the morning. So I'm like, well, they're like, you are okay to drive, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, I've done this. Uh, I don't know, countless times and got away with it. I mean, it's like you're playing American roulette.
Oh yeah,
Your luck is going to run out at some point.
you're
So
absolutely right.
I get in the car, and I had a Nissan truck at the time, and we crammed, all three of us were in the uh, cab of the truck, and I'm driving, and just about three-quarters of a mile, maybe less than that, maybe half a mile of where I was living in this condo with my roommate, Cop pulls in, I see the lights, and okay, I'm like, oh man, I'm almost home. Maybe I can get out of here. So I pulled into the parking lot. He zips in behind the side of me, and then there was a city cop backing him up who jumped out of his car yelling at me. I mean, it was bad. He was just a total just ass. I mean, it was uncalled for, and then they gave me, before all the field sobriety. I'm not even sure they did that. I mean, I know that they told my roommate to go in the house. They told my friend, his former roommate, to go in the house. So he just went back in and slept in my room, which used to be his room. So they abandoned me, and I'm like, well, not really abandoned. Well, they were ordered to get out of the car, and then I said, well, can I go? I'm here. I'm within walking distance. I'm in the parking lot of my residence. Just
Yeah.
give me a break. Let me go, and I'll just go to sleep. No harm, no foul. I'm right here. And that city cop was just yelling, you son of a bitch, you dangerous. And this was before I even blew anything. And it was brought to my attention, the highway patrolman that got me said that I was weaving across the line a little bit. And I probably was.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't let me go. So, I was like, look, and it was like they weren't buying it, they weren't having it. So they arrested me, cuffed me, and took me down to their old jail, which was downtown Wilmington, off of Market Street, down that way. And this was like, I think I blew a .16. I mean, it wasn't really a big number, twice the legal limit in North Carolina. And I want to differentiate. DWI and DWI are kind of synonymous in North Carolina. One doesn't mean, I looked that up like before we got on.
Okay.
You can be charged with either one. They're used interchangeably.
Okay.
They took me into the jail and dressed me out in orange. They wore orange jumpsuit at the time, gave me this bedroll, and then told me to get in this pod. It was like what they call a containment pod.
Yeah.
And there are people on the floor. I mean, this pod is packed, and I'm having to step over people and just be really, really mindful, careful of where I'm walking. I don't want to step on someone's face and start a fight. You don't
Hey,
know.
give me, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I really would like to backtrack just a little bit because I think you skipped over one point that I think is very important to talk about. Tell us about what it was like because I think this people need to know this. I mean, this is one of those things where I want to strike fear into people. What
Mhm.
was it like when you first went to the jail and they made you undress and then put on the jumpsuit? Because there's a process that you go through, and it's embarrassing. Can you kind of talk about what that was like?
Well, I was still kind of drunk, so I wasn't terrified or anything, which is I should have been.
Yeah,
I mean, when I woke up the next morning, I was pretty damn scared. When I saw, it was just, yeah, the fear was greater when I saw those lights. And then it got worse when they told me I couldn't go in and go to sleep. But I just sort of accepted my fate and knew that it was time for Shays to go to jail for this shit. And they took me to the jail, and it was so they had the lights were out because people are sleeping, and I'm trying to find a spot on the floor to lay this bedroll down, make sure I don't, like I said, step on anybody or anything, and lay it down. And just I don't know how I went to sleep. If I had been jailed for being so, for something else other than being drunk, I probably would have not been able to sleep. But I fell asleep, and all this clanging at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Here come the breakfast trays. And then I heard somebody, there were a lot of black guys in this pod. I heard one of them say, "Look at that! They brought another white boy in last night." And I was like, "Oh dear God!" And the funny thing is, they were cool. It was like I wasn't out to make any enemies or anything like that. So one of them was actually trying to. My roommate ended up putting up like 2,000. My bond was $2,000. mind you, and this was 1999. That's unheard of. The magistrate must have been in a bad mood or whatever, but my bond was 2 grand, and my the next day my roommate bailed me out with cash.
Well, the question that I ask you though, sorry to interrupt again, but what was it like? Because there's a process where they make you undress, and
Oh, that part,
that's the
it,
part that
yeah. I mean, like I said, I was just kind of drunk and just following what he told me to do.
you don't remember that much of that part.
I remember it, but like I said, I wasn't, and this shouldn't, I don't want to try to say don't be scared about this kind of thing. There was a fear, but I was still kind of drunk.
I know, but
So
that they make you like take your clothes off, squat, cough, all that stuff in front of the guard. Did they not do that to you?
I can't remember. They probably did. And
Yeah, that's
I probably was embarrassed about that. The reason I didn't mean to skip over on that. It was just, I don't quite remember. I remember putting the suit on, but yeah, you're naked in the suit. And I'm sure that I had to bend over and cough, and they probably did a rectal, look, make sure there was no contraband, even though it's a DWI. I guess
yeah,
they just standard protocol for somebody that's been arrested. I was kind of more concerned about my mugshot being on TV because they had a community crime fighters thing where they would put suspects or people that have been busted like recently. You remember those busted magazines? It was kind of like that, but
yep, yep.
it was on a public access channel.
Well, the other day I was watching the documentary that's on Netflix right now, which I would highly suggest anybody watch. It was just the Martha Stewart documentary that's on Netflix. It's really good. But they were talking about when she went to jail, she was telling the story about one of the things that they did when they brought her in is they made her strip down in the nude,
Mm-hmm.
squat down. You have to like, I guess, like squat, and then they made her cough
Cough to
to
make
make
sure
sure
that
that there was nothing, hidden in any orifices. And she said it was one
right.
of the most embarrassing things that she's ever been through in her entire life.
I could see that being different for women in a way because they're, I don't know, the guys stripping in front of guys. I've done that before. It doesn't embarrass me. I've taken showers, at gyms when I was younger, playing baseball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That really didn't embarrass me. I was just more worried about my face being on TV and then being in the paper probably. And it was just, when I woke up, and there was one guy that did try to help me get out sooner because it took like all day. I didn't get out until probably 6 or 7 that night.
And your bond was 2 grand
Yep.
and 99.
Yep. It's
Wow.
usually for a first offense, it's usually something like $300, $400. You get a bondsman, you pay 10% or whatever. It's usually 10% of the total amount. Like it was $1,000, you give him 100. The bail bondsman would take he put up the rest of it, and then he would take the $100. That's how they make their money.
Okay. So you
And
got bonded out of jail at 6 o'clock that night.
yeah,
Um,
that day
what was the process like for you after that?
they just called my name and said, "You're out. You've been bonded. You made bond." And then I knew who had come and got me. But that's not all of it because I had to go. Yeah, let me back up a minute. There was a from the jail to the courthouse. Look, I forgot about this part. I didn't get out that day. I had to. There was a. I did get out that day, but it was like later on. There was a tunnel that went from the courthouse to the jail, and they shackled us up like with manacles, like on our legs, chains.
So yeah, the chains that
And,
went from your handcuffs down to your legs.
no, it was just leg irons.
So they put the leg cuffs on you as well.
Now I didn't like that. I was embarrassed about that. And
Yeah.
and they marched us, we're shuffling along like this, like Cool Hand Luke or whatever, and we're damn underneath into that tunnel. And I'm like, where the hell are we going? And somebody said, first appearance. I'm like, what is that? And that's basically your arraignment. You go in, you go in front of the judge. The judge says, how do you plead? And of course I said not guilty because I was going to get a lawyer and fight it. So, but had I not made the bond, I would have stayed in jail.
Did you when you were initially arrested, they did the roadside sobriety like the test that they do on you?
I don't remember if they did it that time or not. I got pulled over one night when I hadn't been drinking and had gone over the line, and the cop made me get out, recite the alphabet backwards and forwards, and I think I started counting in Spanish or something. I was being a wise ass, and he says, I know you're on something, and I was completely sober, and I passed it. He just let me go. I mean, he had nothing on me. It was just that was the first close call, even though I was sober.
Gotcha. So this time, when did you blow? Was it at the jail or did you blow on the
Yeah,
side of the road?
I blew it at the jail. They give you two shots at blowing because your alcohol level can drop. Like it could have dropped. Well, it wasn't going to drop. I still would have been over point oh 0.08. So
Th-
I don't know how the defense would have fought it because I didn't get out of it.
I know that there's this, you know, it, I guess kind of in the drinking community, people always talk about this kind of stuff. Like if you get pulled over, refuse to blow and all this kind of stuff, and you can. But if you refuse to blow, and I don't know what it's like in your state, but I know in my state, if you refuse to blow, it's an automatic admission. That you're basically admitting guilt, and they take your license that moment. So if you refuse to blow, they will seize your license, and you basically have pled guilty at that point. But there, you can also, I know, you can refuse to blow and request a blood test, and they will take you to the hospital and pull your blood.
See,
But
that probably would have been a good idea. Then you go and you just stall them out until your blood
well,
level drops. But
kind of, but at the same time, uh, you have to pay the bill for if you like. So if you say I
yeah,
refuse to blow and I want to have a blood test done, if they take you to the emergency room, you get hit with that bill. So you're gonna pay, and when you go to the emergency room, especially if you haven't hit your deductible, you're talking about a couple $1,000s that you're gonna be paying on top of everything else for that blood test. So it's not going to be cheap. Um, you're going to be hit with even more money. But
in North, in North Carolina, they just take your license for a year. I don't think it's really an admission of guilt. You're just not giving them any evidence. And I did that once.
oh, did you?
On one of the DWIs, I refused it.
So what happened with this initial DUI that we're talking about? What was so you went they shackled you up, took you down to the court. I guess you got your bond, and then you got bonded out at some point. How did all that work out? What happened with that?
Well, I had moved back to where I am now, and just periodically, because I moved back to Wilmington probably about 3 or 4 years later. But my court date, I think, was about a year. They stall it out. They stall it out, to try to get your witnesses to have their memory get bad, where they can't remember details and things like that. That was what the lawyers, their strategy would be. So I was here. I had to go back I think I was on a conditional license because I remember driving back for the sentencing or the hearing, and of course I lost. So the result of that was, I think, I had to go to treatment because it was either 30 days in treatment or 30 days in jail. Paid a fine, and I think I got 20 hours of community service.
So what did you have to do for your community service?
I worked there's a historic building. Actually, it was pretty fun. There's a historic building that used to be an old country store here in town, and it's got a distressed Coke logo. You know how those old
Yeah.
buildings used to have Coke on the side?
Hmm.
There was a painter that worked on movie sets in Wilmington, coincidentally. that was working on that, and they put me with him, and we just painted and talked.
Okay.
It took about 20 hours to get it done, and I mean, I didn't have any problem doing it.
So how much was your after everything was said and done with this initial DUI, how much did you end up paying out of pocket as far as fines and all that? And if you could kind of go into what those look like.
The whole thing was probably about 7,000,
Wow.
7 or 8,000.
Wow.
I don't remember I really don't remember. It was close to that though.
So
I
what
mean,
what
they hammer you even worse now.
talk about the fines, like what were they?
Court cost, attorney, that was expensive, about $1,500. Um, I'm not sure what the actual fine. I don't remember the fine on the DWI other than just court cost and then the lawyer. I'm sure there was a fine in there somewhere.
Okay. So $7,000, and then I, I'm guessing you had to like pay like SR-22 insurance or something like that for a period of time after this, or does that not happen on the first DUI?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I think my insurance rates did it went up. My parents helped me pay for it.
So what
Uh,
after you got the DUI, you had to do community service, pay your fines, pay your extra insurance. Was your license suspended for any period of time?
I got a paper license on that one.
What is
So
that?
it's issued by the court, hardship license. So you can only drive to work or to the store.
Okay.
You're not supposed to be driving anywhere else. It has to be like doctor's appointments. You can go there, work, to the grocery store to get food. But if they catch you driving, like you're out on the highway, nowhere near your house, then they would probably slap you with a driving while revoked.
Okay. How long did you have to drive with that license?
A year.
Okay. And then after 1 year, you can go and request to get your regular license back again.
Yeah, I got it back.
Okay.
But it
So
was, yeah.
so you got the first DUI, and then how much longer was it until you got that second one?
Well, all right, the first one was in 99. The second one was in 20, both of the next two were in 2014.
Oh, so you got two in the same year.
Yeah, I think so. It was bad.
So
I
what?
mean,
So from 1999 to 2014, what was your drinking looking like during that period of time?
it wasn't really alcoholic drinking. It may have crossed the line in 2004, I would say. That was when it happened. And then I didn't, when I lost my license the third time, I didn't drive until 2015, I think. I mean, it was a long time. I had a scooter and I was getting around like that. I just didn't want to pay the insurance. And, but I got that second one. Let's see. Okay, the second one, I was coming back from the golf course, and somebody, it was rumored, ratted me out because there was a highway patrolman that we used to play golf with, not in my group, but somebody else. Said that he called somebody and had them set up on a road that leads to this place, a back road that's notorious. I haven't seen a cop in that spot since that happened. And I went by him, and then that was it. That was the one I refused to blow on.
Your
So then,
second?
yeah.
Okay.
And I don't, again, remember the fines or the penalties, other than I was in serious trouble. And then when I got that one, hadn't even been, I had that one was pending when I got the third one. I'm an idiot, man.
So what happened? So you were at a golf course playing golf that day, and you got pulled over after playing golf?
Yeah, I got pulled over. I've been drinking wine. Actually, I did go to jail on that, but I was in a cell by myself for probably 2 hours, and the bond was like $300. None of this makes sense. It would seem like it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, exactly.
But the first one, yeah, I really paid through the nose on the first one, but the second one I can't remember much about. The third one, it seems like it was yesterday.
How far apart were your from the second DUI to the third DUI?
It might have been almost a year. I think it 2004 was about to turn into 2005. Um,
Okay, I thought you said 2014.
no, no, no. Did I say 2014?
Yeah.
No, it was 2004, and then leading into 2005.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
where
So
I got
your first DUI was 1999. Your second one was 2004, and then your third one was in 2005.
it could have been 2000. It was close to December, so it could have been or January, I think, and it could have been 2005. But
Was there
I
something going on in your life during that period of time where you like were you going through a hard time and drinking really heavy, or
just being irresponsible and just drinking,
just partying a lot during that period of time?
not necessarily. Well, I was going to bars and drinking at the golf course. That escalated because I
Okay.
didn't stop playing golf. I caught rides. Folks would give me a ride out there, and then somebody would bring me home.
So you were
A
playing
lot,
a lot of golf back during that period of time.
a lot, a lot.
I
Yeah,
used to
I
I
hadn't
used
played
to
in a while.
I used to do a lot of work with Make-A-Wish back in the day, and we would do these sponsored. Well, we would do these charity golf tournaments for Make-A-Wish and raise thousands of dollars when we do them. But I'm not a golf player. I just never have been. But when we would go do those events, man, everybody would get tanked out there. I mean, hammered on the
Yeah,
golf course.
how far did you say you are from Augusta?
Just a few minutes. like
That's crazy.
like 5 minutes away from Augusta. Augusta National, I'm about 15 minutes away from Augusta National. I drive by Augusta National all the time. That they actually have Augusta National is on Washington Road, which is
Yeah.
basically like the main strip that goes through Augusta. I mean, it's where everything is. But Augusta National has bought up over the years, basically all of Washington Road in that area. There used to be a big church across the street. They just recently bought that, and there was like a huge parking lot. The church was like an old shopping center, and Augusta National just bought that and all the land. And it's funny because there's a couple that have been living in this house that Augusta National has been trying to purchase now because they own a couple acres right in like prime location, and it's an older couple that have lived there for like 50 years. And Augusta
Huh.
National has offered them money over and over and over again to buy their property, and they keep refusing. And they've offered them like $1.5 million for
That's
their.
got to be a sick amount.
Oh
At
yeah,
least
and
really.
the people are like, nope, not leaving. Sorry, we're not leaving here. Somebody's gonna get that house eventually, and Augusta National's gonna buy it. But anyway, it's so far off topic. But
Uh, it's all right. Digressions are all right here and there.
yeah, absolutely. So your second DUI, you refused to blow. How did that go?
I was just cuffed, and when I got to I went to New Bern this time at the jail up there, and I just said, I'm not blowing.
So
I
they
said, I figured they had me dead to rights. It was already just a bad situation. If I could go back and do it again, I would have gone ahead and blown. I don't know. You just don't know. You don't know what your blood alcohol level is. I just thought it would be, I'm not going to blow. I'm not going to give the prosecution any kind of evidence.
did that not go in your favor for doing that?
For not blowing, I lost my license for a year.
Oh, so you automatically lost your license for a year because you refused to blow.
In North Carolina, that's how it is.
Do they not do a roadside blow test or whatever they call that? Or do they wait until you get to the jail before you blow?
I can't remember if that cop had a. They usually give you two blows, so
Okay.
he may have had me blow. He wasn't a jerk or anything. He just smelled alcohol. He says, "You've been drinking?" And I said, "I had a couple." There's no telling how many I had. I don't know what my BAC was. I'm sure it was over the limit. I mean, I just didn't feel like fooling with it. It's just, if you're gonna take me to jail, take me to jail.
You just brought up a really good point right there. That you said that the police officers smelled alcohol on you, and if you think about it and put yourself in a police officer's shoes, I mean, they're dead sober when they're working. And when they go walk up to your vehicle and you've been drinking, you you're in a confined vehicle, especially if your windows have been up. When you roll that window down, people don't realize how pungent that smell actually really is. It's
Oh yeah.
it's very strong. Anytime I'm out in public, and somebody's been drinking, if I if I'm 10 to 15 feet away from them, I can smell the alcohol, especially since I
Can't
don't drink anymore.
if you're drunk, you can't smell it.
You cannot smell it at all. You do
And
not.
then when you get some sobriety in you, you can smell it a mile away.
You absolutely can. I'm like a hound dog when it comes to alcohol now, and that's what my point is. If you put yourself in the police officer's shoes, you get pulled over, you roll that window down. As soon as that window goes down, they can smell the alcohol coming out. They know immediately that you've been drinking. And
Like during COVID, it was weird because everybody was using hand sanitizer, like
yeah,
at work, and it smelled like everybody was drinking.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Like,
know.
it's like, have you been drinking? No, hand sanitizer.
Yeah, I can't stand the smell of that stuff, and my wife uses it all the time. And anytime we go to the dump to take our trash, I'll tell my wife because she'll put hand sanitizer on. I tell her, please don't use that stuff in the vehicle with me in here because it's an automatic trigger. As soon as I smell hand sanitizer, it smells like vodka to me.
Yeah, I don't really, to be honest, I don't get triggered. The only time I get triggered on is maybe if I'm watching TV and there's like two Irish guys in a pub somewhere, like laughing. That's about the only time I'm like, man, I remember when I used to go to those pubs in Wilmington with my friends and could drink normal.
Yeah,
No, and a lot of times I didn't drink and drive. It just, I'm not saying that I did it all the time because I didn't. It was just, and the thing is, I've never been wasted ever behind the wheel. I'm not condoning it because nobody should ever do it. Please, people, don't do it.
yeah.
But I was never wasted. My blood alcohol level, it's 0.16, maybe a little higher, but no, I could walk and maybe a little bit of wobbling, but not much.
Well, we're at the past 30-minute mark, so let's go ahead and cancel. We'll close this video out for right now. I just want to say thank you so much for doing this video with me today, and I do want to thank you also for I went and picked up your package that you sent me, and I just want to say thank you so much for that gimbal, and thank you for the hat and for the book that you gave me as well. I'm really excited about reading that. He gave me Stu's book from the channel Backcountry, which is basically his story about when he was on the Silk Road. Is that what it is?
He was
Yeah,
drunk on a bicycle on the Silk Road.
yeah. I'm really excited about reading that. But
And I don't want him to, like if he's watching this, when I ordered the book, he gave me one that was signed with a real nice thing to me in it, and
yeah,
then I got an extra copy of it.
yeah.
Oh, I'm like, well, that's when I hit 500 subs. I was going to give that away to somebody, and then the bots jumped on my channel, and then it was going up and down from. I'm like, I don't know who to give this stuff to. I offered it to a couple of people, and then I'm just like, well, I got to give it to somebody.
Well, I greatly appreciate it because I'm absolutely going to read it. I've been wanting to read his book
It's
and
good.
read
It's really
his
good.
story because I've heard about it, but I have yet to purchase his book. But thank you so much for giving it to me because I'm a big reader, so I absolutely will read the book.
He's
And
very, very good, very descriptive, and not some stuff is chock full of adjectives and all this kind of stuff. And I don't really like, I like reading more like Ernest Hemingway style, like bare bones. That's how I'm writing my book right now.
okay,
But even though he's just got a gift. for description.
Well, I mean,
And
if you just go look at his channel,
oh,
I mean, his videos are ridiculously good. I mean, his
I
editing style is phenomenal.
my dad watches his channel.
Really.
He's watched your channel. Yeah.
He's really got a clean way of putting his videos. I mean, they just seem very I can't think of the word.
Eloquent.
Like very eloquent, distinguished. It's just a beautiful editing style that he has, and I don't possess that skill.
You
Uh,
got other skills.
yeah, mine's more just to the point and kind of, I like to go
You don't need,
outside.
yeah, like we said, you don't need thumbnails.
Yeah, no, I don't have any of that extra stuff. It's just me talking. But anyway, like I said, let's go ahead and close this one out for today. Thank you so much for coming on here and talking about this. And guys, there's gonna be a part two to this, and that'll be out tomorrow. So hang out and we'll have that next section out tomorrow. And thank you so much for watching today, and thank you for coming on today, Shades.
Thanks for having me, man. It's good to be back.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Yep.